Getting ready to put the mid intake in. We've been working diligently trying to get this thing back together, and I will say, it's not that the work's hard, but getting parts is just as hard as installing them in some cases, but none the same, we're getting it done. The next hose we got to replace is the PCV fresh air breather from the filter box, or the air cleaner assembly, whatever you want to call it. Filtered air comes in through here, picks up all the gases, goes through this hose, and then metered back into the intake via this hose. One thing about these hoses, you can't just go to O'Reilly's and just get bulk hose and hope it works, because unfortunately there's a lot of molded hoses, and a lot of them they're so old that they wouldn't come off. We actually had to cut them, and they lose their pliability. And as you'll see here with the new one, it's definitely a lot easier to work with. But I'm afraid there's a day coming when getting parts for these cars are going to be probably next to none. We're almost there already. We talked to an Infiniti dealer yesterday or the day before, and he said, yeah, Infiniti is one of the hardest ones to get parts for. So something to think about if you're going to buy an Infiniti, unless you're going to be rich and trade it in every 4 or 5 years.
I hope my Dakota ain't like that.
No, Dakota we can get parts for it. Well, we can't. We can stench off Rams. We can stench off Jeeps.
We would just have to move off our
Durangos.
Yeah, we would have to move to Ram.
We have options where we don't with this. Well, that one didn't come off too bad. Alright, transfer over the clamps. There are 2 different colors, gray for the valve cover, black for the airbox. Yeah, after about 03, a lot of the clamp systems for PCV went to sealed systems. And that is unfortunately the way that the federal government wants people to go. Well, European government too, I guess.
Yeah.
Alright, slide your clamp back. So when you put your airbox back in, you just got to slide it over. Nothing to it. Pretty easy. Alright, now one little bit of prep left to do. We're going to pull the tape off the mid, or this would be the lower intake. Alright, we're going to pull our tape off because we had to wait for parts for a couple days. Okay, before you put your intake down, take a shot back and suck each of these holes out just to make sure no dust or grime got in there. Alright, we'll take some, we call them tech wipes. We're going to use that for our final prep, so it picks up any dirt, oil, residue. Yep, an air leak in the lower, the mid, the upper. It's all going to do bad things to your engine. Mostly lean it out and have to make the injectors have to dump a bunch of fuel through it and then wonder why your fuel economy is not very good. So one thing we found in here was a bunch of vacuum leaks. Although the trim numbers weren't too bad. It's funny, after I put the E3s in, they were at 9. But then when I checked them here before we did the teardown, I was at 6.4. And during the summertime I could hear an air leak. It wasn't too bad, and I still couldn't tell you what it was. With a million vacuum hoses, it could have been any one. The butterfly valve for the mid intake, I'm going to have to replace that vacuum hose, but I did not replace any hoses yet until I actually got everything back together, because on this engine, with as many as it has, there's one thing you got to do one at a time. You put it in the wrong time port, the computer goes to call, it's going to shut it down when it should be open, or open it when it should be shut down, and then you're going to get weird codes like PO1130, or get some air management codes. Don't want that. Okay, now we got it clean. Now we can put our mid intake gasket down. Down 2 gaskets left. So which one do you think goes where?
I don't know.
Now this gasket, we call it the mid intake lower gasket. You can put it on backwards. You can put it on like this and the holes face the wrong direction. And I've noticed with this intake, it actually has an extra set of holes. So there's different tops for these. So on the QX4 Nissan Infiniti, you want your bolt hole to go this way. So it goes down and goes this way. You got the catch here. Make sure you get it down right. It's not torqued very tight. I'm talking 18 to 21 foot-pounds. Alright, we'll get a close-up shot with a hand pan. Okay, on this intake on the Nissan PCV system, there is one other hose. I actually almost forgot about it until I was going through my bags and I found this one. There's the part number right there. This is a genuine Nissan part. So basically, like the rest of them, just move the clamp, cut the hose off, because you're not going to get this hose off easily. Grab a razor blade. Thing after 150,000 miles, these hoses are not pliable, not easy to get off. It'd be easier if I just cut it in half. Yeah, I don't know how to show you in the camera how crunchy these hoses are, but man, I'll tell you what, especially on the oil control side. That'd be a direct vacuum leak. And it would cause stalling and all sorts of goofy problems. Okay, we're going to put the clamps on the hose this time. We should be able to. It's a factory hose. Okay, just like that. Put the clamps back down. Other than that, just replace the PCV valve. Some of these years they do have a threaded PCV valve, but on this 01 it don't. So other than that, just make note of that. Whatever you pull off, obviously replace with what you have. You can't really adapt it. The plastic or the thread-in type was for the plastic valve cover model. Alright, moving on. Alright, just to show you kind of quandary we get into with old hoses. This is one that just will not come off. And you can do the old trick of trying to grab this.
Ooh, oh, hold the camera.
Does it work? Nope. But try to do that with the intake on. Good luck. It ain't happening. But yeah, you can see how crusty these hoses get. Yeah. Air leak. Can't figure out why. She's burning through fuel. Alright, before you go to stick this on, same thing. Suck it out. Clean it up. Now we've already done the cleaning on the bench, but this is final. So we go through and make sure there's no dirt. See, we got a little there. That could be an air leak. It's just how sensitive these engines are. Alright, grab the shop vac. Alright, flip it over. the butterfly valve is towards the radiator. And pretty much stick it back on. Let's see, I knew something was going to be in my way over here. That's all you've seen my spark plug video. You know, if there's a nasty bracket over here we got to deal with. Okay, just like that, she's down. And then once we get it locked down, then we'll put our bolts back in. Okay, the bolts you're going to need I saved in this bag. So this was mid-intake. As you can see, it's been off once because there's blue Loctite there. They actually used the wet Loctite.
Right here?
Yeah.
Put it out.
That's how you know someone's been into it once. There shouldn't be any blue there. That's Americanized nonsense. So let me go clean these bolts and I'll be right back with you. Probably a little more than I need, but we don't want this loosening up once we get it torqued. Okay. All right, 12 mil. Alright, we're just getting these lightly torqued. Okay, and then we got two more. Got the stud in the back. And the stud in the front. And then you'll need a deep socket for that. Okay, there's the torque sequence. Alright, so 1, 2, 3, 4, and these are down at 13 to 15 foot-pounds. Don't over torque it because then you'll squish that gasket. Alright, let's go back to the vehicle and do the final torque.
Okay, go.
Alright, 1. Two. Okay, right now I'm just doing the first pass of 18. I'm going to do a final 21. Okay, and deep socket. Okay, 3. And then 4. Alright, now we're going to do a final 21. Okay, mid intake is torqued. Now I have one bolt left in the bag. And now I'm trying to remember, because unfortunately it took us a week to get to this, that there are 2 brackets back here that have to get bolted down. Let's see if I'm right. Alright, with a 12 wrench I'm just going to torque this up.
Alright, call that one good. Now
Alright, we're going to put the upper intake in now. Same thing. Clean your top. There's 2 gaskets to go here in your kit. Get our gaskets on. One thing I like about this setup is that it uses locators. So there's that gasket, and then the last gasket. Okay, other than that, all we gotta do is just clean the top and we're moving on.
sure the gasket's gonna go in. Is it? Are you sure that's how it's supposed to go?
Yep.
There we go. That's what I thought.
Yep, nothing's forced.
Yeah, because those weren't lining up at all. So not returnable if seal is broken.
Yeah, pretty much, because they can't resell it. Alright, we're just going to start laying bolts in.
I'm guessing you don't do those for that.
Way too big.
It looks like it's way too long.
Well, we'll find out here in a sec. This is why you group all your bolts.
It'd be stupid not to. Oh, dude, I can't wait to turn this thing. This is like one of the cars that are actually like they're reliable when they're not breaking down.
Yeah, pretty much.
How long do you think this until it lasts?
A lot of people report they get 300,000 miles out of it.
How many do we have in here?
Got 150.
Wait, we only have 150 on this thing?
Yep.
Wow! We have ways to go until this thing dies.
Pretty much.
Boom. We're missing.
Those are different.
These right here?
That's for the top that goes on here.
Oh. Okay.
Alright, what's interesting on the torque sequence, you do this side first and then you come and do this side second. It's going to be a lot to remember. Okay, number 2.
Think it's gonna start up?
Hope so. That's the whole point of doing all this work.
So nothing's gonna blow.
Should.
I'll be the first to start it up.
Okay, 3. 5, 6, 7, 8, And last one. Whew. Okay, intake's back on.
Do we have another one?
Nope, that's it. Only three.
Three.